Hi, Kayan here, and I have my overflowing tub of junk that I need to be putting into my junk journals, and so perfect timing as we're approaching this season where people participate in Junk Journal January. That is a challenge put forth by Meg Journals, and she has every year she has a list of prompts, and I'm not positive yet whether I'm going to fully participate in it, as in do each of these prompts each day. I might, but my main goal is to get all my little treasures that I've been setting aside put into a junk journal. I love using wrappers and little mementos and boxes of for products and things like that in a junk journal as just a way of kind of memory keeping or recording events through time. And so to do that, I have a few different ways that I do my junk journaling. One is in a altered book, and so this is a book, Trisha Gilt's pattern book. I've done many different ones. This is just one that I'm kind of currently working in. I've stuck cards in here, and I just start sticking things in and filling up the pages. So the pages, as you can see, are already quite beautiful. So that just gives me a lovely background to work on as I glue in my junk. So that's fun. Sometimes I bind my own journal by binding in like junk. These are pages that are pieced together, and I have file folders and painted papers and different materials that I accumulate, and then I just bind those in as the pages in my journal. Magazine pages, book pages, whatever I find, and make my own journal that way. But I'm kind of wanting to, I will probably use this one for this project, but I also am kind of wanting to do one where that's kind of a combination of the two, where I use an existing book and alter it, but I'm going to actually take pages out, or at least part of them out, and replace them with my junk pages. So that's what I'm going to start on and prepare today, ready for my Junk Journal January. So get those out of the road, and to do this, I've seen several different people do this way, and I've in the past I've done some of it myself, so I'm not sure who to give credit to. If you look out there, you can find several people doing this, but this is where I'm going to kind of do a combination, because some pages, like I kind of like this title, so I may leave that in there. But some of the pages, kind of the general idea is that some of these pages I'm going to remove. And since this book isn't very wide, I normally would leave maybe an inch, but this book is not very wide, not very large, and so I'm going to make it a little smaller, I think. And I'm going to just tear out some of these pages, and I will save those because I use, like, I will probably cut this out and use it on a page. I love these little illustrations.
Part of these illustrations I'll save and I'll use like in my planner journal and other places as well, just because they're cute little things to add in. I also like to use the words in these children's books, as they're a little bit bigger type and easy to work with. So those are also fun to use like in a journal or planner or decoration. I'm going to continue tearing out pages and leaving just a few select ones until I reach the end of the book. On this last page, just the one right before the back cover, you can see that it has been very patched up with tape. That's, why I get these books often for free, or they're ones that we had, or ones libraries are getting rid of, or any number of things. This one was a free book that I got somewhere because it was damaged and actually missing some pages. However, I do love these little illustrations. It was a story about kids going to the library and just all the places that takes them. So I do really like these little illustrations to reuse. But I did have to cut that one out because I couldn't tear it because of the tape on it.
Okay, then for the pages that I'm going to replace, I might use like pages I torn out of other books, scraps of paper, various things. I might even dig into my junk pile and find some things that could be included there. So I'm going to go round up some papers and be right back.
So I've pieced together a page already using some of my junk, like a hot tamales box you can see up there at the top of the screen, and made them to size, made the page to size just like I would when I piece together things for junk journal, for my bound junk journals. But instead of the sewn binding of the spread and making signatures, I'm just actually using what's left of those pages to glue in to the book. Now sometimes I just use one edge on one side. I'm just tearing out some of the scrappy stuff. But an older book like this where the pages are a little bit brittle, I go ahead and glue it on both sides. So I'm nestling that page in between the two parts there, 2 pages. So if I glue one page between what would have been every 2 pages, then I'm going to have half as many total pages as the book originally had. Now, exception to that is that there were some pages missing to start with, and then also I had some pages that I left in there. This page is pretty heavy since I actually used some cardboard packaging in there. So I'm also using some masking tape, and this happened to be some decorative masking tape I had to kind of reinforce that. Since I know I will be adding even more to these pages, I want to be sure that that's all nice and secure. Now I did end up tearing out that first title page, so now I'm going to go cut that title out of the page and glue on to this, which will become my new title page. I like to always include parts of the original book. I intend to leave the title of this book on the front cover, so it's kind of nice to have the title repeated then inside the book. Just gives a little continuity. In addition, I have those pages that I left in and may perhaps use some of the pages I took out, parts of them, to put back in. So the first page is done, and now I need to select materials for the next page. I think, though, what I need to do is make a page and use that as, kind of a pattern for the size for the rest of the pages to come. This was some nice paper that was included in a package of candles that we had gotten at Thanksgiving time. And so it will be a nice sturdy base for the next page. And I only have a little bit that I need to piece in. So I'm going to go ahead and start assembling some more pages, and I will pop back in a bit. I'm also using some black masking tape to just kind of reinforce where I've pieced things together, and also where it joins the existing page. So I'm just going to carry on and get these pages finished up. I was having so much fun, I decided to do a second book that's a larger format, and lays open a little wider. And so this one, since it's a wider book, I can give a little bit bigger margin down the center than I did on the previous book. So going ahead and tearing pages out and getting this book prepped. Now this is one that I also would have made a good, just altering the pages. Like sometimes I just leave the pages in there and paint and paste on top. These pages are fairly matte, so they would work well to work on top of. But this time I decided I would go ahead and do this method with this book. And I love children's books for this purpose because they're a little bit smaller, like not so thick, so it's more manageable to get them finished up. They're a little less bulky to like carry around while you're working on them, and just have great illustrations that can be repurposed in various ways. So I do see lots of potential in these pages. I think they'll be fun to use. Definitely will be keeping those and reusing them in some way. In this case, I'm going to use part of them to piece together pages in that first book. So I'm going back to my little template here and sizing some pages to fit into the book. I like to keep my eyes open for books like this, used books that can be purchased inexpensively. Just keep your eyes open online or in thrift stores or library book sales or different places. And whenever I see ones like this, I snatch them up to be used in this way. Sometimes they become an altered book, and sometimes I just use the pages to as collage fodder or to reassemble into a different book. Just speeding things up here so you can see the process of getting these pages pieced together and glued in. This page I'm just putting in some strips. I save even little pieces in case I need to patch those in somewhere, or sometimes just add in as a decorative touch. I'm not being super precise here. I'm just kind of seeing how big a piece I need and going with it there, using that template that I made underneath as a guide for starting these. In this case, I ripped the strip to use as, like, instead of masking tape, I put a strip of some contrasting paper, and I really like that look. So just be creative as you piece your little bits and treasures together as you create these, and it really is a lot of fun. I'd actually seen a very old scrapbook done in this way with the little strips that were bound into the book, and then the pages, like the black paper scrapbook pages, were glued within that. I've also seen some photography, like portfolio type books, that were made the same way. So I don't know what this technique is called, but it's obviously been around for a long time and been used in multiple ways. Both the old scrapbooks, the more modern photography portfolio books. So if anyone knows the name of this, let me know. Like I said, I've seen various artists or journalers of various sorts use this type. I even one time was gifted a journal that was that it did not have pages. It just had these like bound in strips in the middle. They had like decorative edges, like some were cut in scallops and some were cut in different shapes, so that would be something fun to do too. But it was just kind of like a make your own journal kit, and that's how it came, so that was kind of interesting. So lots of possibilities here. I decided to glue in some cover or images, pages on the front and back covers as well. The whole theme of these books is in the way that I'm using as glue books is that they're just going to be very busy, very full of imagery.
Okay, so here's book number 1 done, and I do intend to paint this cover, but for now, here it is. I will probably keep these and this, possibly this banner, I don't know, but I can paint it over with black. And then I have an inside cover here. I have the first page, and these are pages made out of what could be considered junk. I put in an old watercolor made out of Peerless watercolor sheets in there. Have pieced together pages. This is from a Sticky Club advent calendar, maybe a couple years ago. Like, some things are just too cute to throw away. This was one of the original bookcase pages. Just pieced in some other scraps in there. This is an envelope, which I believe is was day 2 prompt. And I will be able to stick some other little treasures in there. This was one of the pages that I left in the book. So mainly because I loved this side of the page. A pieced in page here. I love the fact that you can use, you know, like things if you like both sides, that you can use them that way. I kind of like it when the spreads kind of correspond with each other a little bit color-wise. There's another one that kind of goes together. And that's it. So book number 1. Ready for me to paste some more goodies in. Now I pulled book number 2 back out, this wider one. I've got all the little fringe cuts. It's a little bit more uniform than the other one. And I am ready to, I have a template page, one of the pages made, and I'm using it as a template to piece together more pages. These pages are a little bit bigger, so it requires me to either use more pieces or bigger hunks. But no matter what the size, the process is the same. I'm just piecing bits of papers together, and I try not to, even if I do have big enough pieces to, you know, be the whole page, I will sometimes use those, but I try to do it a little sparingly because I love the look of the pieced together pages. I just think they're so much more interesting looking. I'm using, in addition to tape, a lot of glue stick here. I don't know whether, you know what, I mentioned that, but I've used a lot of glue stick, as is obvious, in gluing those together. This book is one of my favorites to use imagery out of. It's called Bloom Blossom by Amy Butler, and it's just very, very beautiful. I use it as a resource for art journaling. Just love the images as is. I use them in my you know, like planners and notebooks and journals, because they're just gorgeous. And so I am taking some of those. This is one that I've already used quite a bit. The cover has come loose because, again, I buy these used. They're not always in very good shape. So this cover, since it was loose anyway, I decided would make a really fun page to put in because it's a fold-out cover. So I think that will make for a really, really nice addition to this book. I only had to trim a little bit off of the top just to make it the right height, and otherwise it was perfect. So using that glue stick again
to be able to stick in the pages. Making sure I get that page shoved clear into the crease.
This is the book number 2. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the cover yet. I'm thinking about either painting or collaging or maybe some of both. It's a nice big surface to do something fun with. I left this as is because I thought I could do something fun here also. And then we jump into the first page. This is that cover, that bloom cover that I used, which makes a very fun fold out page. Lots of real estate there to have fun with. The other cover here, and then the back end papers. It will also be a fun book to work in.
So that's my altered book / junk journals, ready for junk journal January and getting some of my stash glued in. Thanks for watching. See you next time.